day 2 of
Day
the apocalypse.
2. Here we are, Greg and Lucy.
You're going to talk less over me this week.
Yeah. Do we have to introduce ourselves again every single week?
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah, because we might have new people that are listening to us.
Okay, sure.
So I am Greg, and I am the owner and director of Zombie Infection. We place many people in real-life zombie apocalypse experiences across the UK. And I've been doing it for a long time, 10 years now.
10 years already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Already?
Well, no, but that sounded really bad. We love what we do. My name's Lucy. I am the event manager at Zombie Infection. I'm also the bookings manager and recruitment manager as well. We kind of all dive into all areas, don't we? Me and you, we do loads of different bits and bobs. But yeah, I've been with the business for almost 6 years now, and I've been doing... No, surely not, because that means I've been doing this for 8... No, I can't have been doing this for 8 years.
Well, I took over as the event manager at Z Events in 2017.
I joined Z Events in 2016. So...
But you were only there for like a few weeks and then you went back to uni, didn't you?
Well, I was there for 6 months. Well, I was there during the summer.
6 months?
Yeah.
The summer does not last.
No,
6
but in
months.
total, when I went off to study, and when I used to come back again for like the holidays, came back to work. So it was about 6 months in total.
That's a good
2016.
story.
So hold on. 18, 19, 20. So 6 years.
Half this podcast is about working out how long Lucy's been doing this gig for.
Yeah. Anyway,
this podcast is about us. We now sort of co-run, I guess, Zombie Infection. And we thought it'd be cool to just jump in weekly for 30 minutes, give you some insight into the background about the business and how it runs, and tell you some funny stories.
Yeah.
This week's been quite exciting. So I've been in London.
oh yeah, are you going to share?
Looking at a secret venue.
And
London normally completely prices us out because after you take away like 15 actors, venue hire, props, all the damage, insurance, all that kind of stuff, there actually isn't really a lot of money to be made from zombie experiences. I don't even know why we do it. I do know why we do it, but I don't even know why we do it from a business perspective. Probably why not a lot of other people do it. London normally always prices us out because properties just either it goes really quickly or it's in high demand.
It's one of those things, though, isn't it? Because actually, if we did hypothetically have an event in London, it would sell. Like, it would sell just because of its location, tourists are everywhere. So it would just sell. So then you've got to kind of weigh up what actually... Because it's one of those uncharted markets, isn't it? We've not been there before, so we don't know how much it would actually bring in. And would we be able to afford the rent and all that kind of stuff?
Well, there has been a zombie experience in London for a while.
Okay.
It's not quite what we do, but it is set in sort of an archway. It's called Bunker something.
Okay.
It's been around for a long time. And then there was obviously Variant 31.
Yeah.
There was a massive disaster. Yeah. And I heard some horror stories from that event of like, the guy told me in the week that when you were aiming, because I think it used some kind of laser system to keep your score or whatever, like you need a score in the apocalypse.
Okay.
But apparently, like, if you aimed at their head, you wouldn't score anything. But if you aimed 2 feet above their head...
Because it was off. Because the actual, sensors or something was like...
So,
okay, well, that's
if you aimed sort of at the wall next to the zombie, then you would survive.
Love that.
Yeah. Obviously completely different than what we do. I mean, ours is really real, it's immersive, it's very, you got to be accurate.
But we get a lot of people, don't we, asking about London, just because of, we get people travelling outside of London as well, but not
We do. So if you know a venue in the capital and you think that one of our zombie experiences would work there, then definitely get in touch.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was up there looking at a very cool venue. Very derelict. I was stood there talking to these 2 gentlemen.
Ooh.
And sort of in the background I saw a massive rat just sort of hop along the background.
I quite
it was
like rats,
big,
though.
actually.
I do actually
it
quite
was
like
a big
rats.
Rat. It was like proper plague rat. Yeah. But it was a cool venue, small, but I think we could probably get something out of it. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I mean, London venue would be really, really cool.
Fingers crossed.
So I've had a busy week. What about yourself? What have you been doing?
I had to
noise?
because I had to think in my head what I've been doing. Well, we've been getting everything ready kind of venue wise for next year, haven't we? So I've been promoing a lot of our new venues. We've got 4 new sites. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or not really?
No, I think I think when we're in the lead up to them, probably next week's podcast, we'll talk about the boathouse, because I've got to write a script. Yeah.
So in general, then we've been getting ready for our new locations next year, which we're very excited about. That's kind of what I've been doing this week, and
So I think we wanted to start off by highlighting something in our business, which is not something that I originally thought would be so blatantly obvious.
What's that then?
It's the categorization of customer type.
Oh, okay. There's a lot to talk about there.
Obviously, it's not like 100% bulletproof.
No.
But you do see traits with certain types of customers,
Definitely.
like characteristics with how they act. So one of the things we do at our events is before you enter the actual experience is you wait outside and you get signed in, you sign a waiver, and our back of house member of staff meets you in high vis, and their job, really, their brief, is to work out whether you are going to be difficult or not.
Yes, yeah. And it's weird, though, how you can instantly tell. I think there are occasions where, obviously we're going to go into detail about it, I think there are occasions where we go, oh, this person's going to be difficult, and they turn out not to be. But a majority of the time, you kind of can tell straight away, can't you? And I guess we'll talk about why.
Yeah, so I think sometimes, look, it's not that they're being difficult on purpose.
No.
Our event is very real.
And people do strange stuff when they're scared.
Yeah,
they do. They act
so
up.
One of the things that we get a lot is laughing. Now, we had a comment last week on our podcast. A customer said, like, I almost got kicked out for laughing. And although, like, the only reason why that's so difficult for us to deal with is because obviously we're trying to drum up tension and
be
fear.
very real.
And if people do get scared or uneasy or a little bit, they have a little bit of anxiety around the scenario, it's very easy to make that situation feel easier.
Like use humour to make yourself feel more comfortable.
That's right, yeah.
But that makes our lives difficult.
Yeah, so if the scene is really intense and they feel, a little bit uneasy about it, often people will laugh or crack jokes because they don't like letting on. I guess like laughter might be seen as a bit of a weakness. Sorry, they don't want to show their weakness.
Yes.
So they cover it up
to try and be funny. And I think it makes it's difficult for us because on one hand we're like, oh God, here we go. But then also it's like these people, you've paid money. We want you to experience. You want to have fun. We want you guys to have fun.
Yeah, of course.
So we don't want to be hard-assed the entire time.
We wouldn't come down particularly hard on someone that's laughing, but we would just try and get them on board and bring them into the scenario and
there's a line
try and integrate them.
How far they go. If you give them kind of a bit of a, calm down type thing, and then it kind of goes too far, then it's kind of like, well, is that ruining the experience for other people? And that's
our events start very fast.
Full on.
Very fast and full on, and you're outside and you're having a little bit of a joke around, and you're excited about it. Maybe your heart's beating a little bit, but our events hit you like a wrecking ball, like in the face.
Yeah. Hit you in the face. They do. It's like one big slap across the face.
They do, yeah. And obviously some people don't. They just can't hack it, and they're like, I've got to go. I need to go.
Do you use some examples just so these guys?
You got some off the top of your head?
No, I'm just trying to think. Well, I'm thinking of remember the old courthouse.
This is good planning again.
No, but the old courthouse. Basically, after they meet the main characters. After the guests kind of get broken out, and then of wherever they're being held, and then they meet us main characters. We kind of give them a little bit of a story brief, and then we kind of say, you've got 2 options. Option 1 is you can, go back down to the cells that we've rescued you from and, stay there. It makes no difference to us. Or 2, you can come along with us and live to see another day. Something along those lines. And sometimes you go, what's it going to be? Option 1 or 2. And sometimes in the past, the majority of people go, 2, yeah, we want to come with you. But you get that occasional joker that's like, 1, I'll go back down in the cells. I'll stay there.
And what do I say to those people?
Okay. So then I'd
say, look, what we do is improvisational theatre. So if they want to go and spend 2 hours in the cells down there, it makes no difference to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I think so. Back in the day, it was probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. You actually didn't you? You took someone and you took them down to the cells, but then you don't break character. But
I'm not going to take them down there. I'll just send them back down. I know that it's a dead end.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just going to be like, okay, right, just go down there and best of luck.
And they go, and then yeah,
obviously they're not, because they believe that it's so scripted.
Yeah, when you say that, they're not expecting it.
No. So they immediately just turn around and be like, oh, right, okay, no, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like the dunce in the class.
Yeah.
It's like you make an example of these customers, and then everyone else thinks like, oh, don't fucking mess with him.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if I try and be smart here, I'm not going to outsmart him.
And at the end of the day, I don't think it's ever happened, maybe once ages ago, but if they did go, okay then, and they did go down there, then that they're paying the money for the experience. If they want to spend their entire time sat in a cell, great, feel free,
We're there to put on a show for the customers. If that's his choice or her choice, then go for it.
It doesn't happen very often. Those difficult customers, we've been doing it a long time, and we kind of recognise ways to kind of bring them on board and kind of get them to play ball. But yeah, that's probably, what should we call that type of customer?
I don't think we really want to label them. We're getting into dodgy territory there.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about categories, so I was going to...
Yeah, I know, but categorising people anyway, like, we're only categorising characteristics of people. Like, that's what we're doing. And it's not always the same type of people that have those types of characteristics.
It's not.
We get everybody across the board, like, whatever age. I think it's just character traits of a personality. I'd be interested to see like what the psychological sort of the background to that is. Whether or not over their childhood or their adulthood certain things have happened to make them like a certain way.
Should we tell the story about my
It could
dad?
be like how yeah, let's tell the story about your dad.
We thought of another example. So Greg hadn't met my dad before, and
I had
once. It was once. It was once a long time ago. And then he met my dad again. My dad came to do our experience with my brother and I think some of my dad's work friends. And in that scene, what we were talking about, Greg was doing his brief and my dad wasn't trying to be a smart ass, like he wasn't, but I think because he didn't realise how intense it was going to be, he kind of made a joke or said something like, I don't know what it was he said, but like when Greg was speaking and Greg just turned around, and for a bit of context, Greg and I, we're together. We've been together for almost 6 years. This was probably about 2 months into our relationship, and he met my dad once. Anyway, so he's talking and he turns around and says something to Greg, and Greg turns around in character and goes, "Why don't you shut up?" Right? I'm there stood in character. I literally, my heart fell into my stomach. I was like, oh my God, Greg, he just told my dad to shut up. And it wasn't like can you keep the noise down? I'm trying to talk. It was like, why don't you shut up?
We were best friends ever since.
And then my dad literally went, and like, no one's ever spoken to my dad like that. But afterwards, you spoke about it, didn't you, at the end of the event?
Look, I mean, I am a professional.
Oh my God. He didn't know you though.
I am a professional. And when I'm in character and I'm performing, I don't care who they are. I am performing.
But what did he...
And I am reacting in those scenarios to anybody, whether it's your dad or anybody else.
What did he say that like, at the end he said, "Oh, I really respected you for that," or something?
Yeah,
you apologised.
Yeah.
I said to him, I was like, "You have to apologise."
Yeah, I apologised. You didn't say, "Oh, you have to apologise."
Well, I was thinking it. I'm glad you did it.
We were fine.
No,
Your dad's a great guy.
It
was all in banner, isn't it? It's not real. It's just like when I say to the people, "Don't worry, they're not really going to kill you."
But it was
but they're still sort of swing a punch.
Oh my God. Anyway, so that was an example.
Yeah, we get people question us because we go in and we're like, say if we've had somebody with like a military background, or they're quite a what's the sort of right term? They're quite they're strong people.
Headstrong, yeah.
And they come in and when their choices and they're being challenged for authority by a complete stranger, like they don't like it. So there's a very fine line between how you deliver those types of line. I wasn't being aggressive to your dad. I was just making sure that he understood the seriousness of the situation. And we struggle all the time with our lead actors teaching that.
It's very hard to teach that. It's you've got to be able to command a room. You've got to be able to command respect. They're the two main things. So you want people to respect you, so they don't talk over you. But you don't you can't shout at people the entire time. Otherwise, it's like when you're at school and you had a teacher that just shouted, it just becomes white noise. So you have to command respect. And I think actually having that presence is quite hard to teach.
But it's the difference
people.
between being authoritative and confrontational.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we find a lot of people, when we want someone to do something, when you want somebody to do something, shouting the command at them and screaming at them is not going to get them to do what you want them to do. So you have to give them the command in an authoritative way. One of the key things that we teach our actors is about tone and pitch.
Yeah.
So when you're being authoritative, you'd be like, right, I need you to move over there. And I go down at the end. Whereas if I'm being aggressive or confrontational, it would be like, I need you to move there.
Yeah, it's the difference.
There's a difference between like the seriousness of the elevations. And you studied drama at uni, right?
Yes,
and they
acting,
teach you that. They teach you that.
Do you know what? No, do you know what they? No, they do. They do teach you
Everywhere
that.
else,
But
I didn't go to.
No, right?
No.
They teach you. They teach you that, but what we do is very different. It's quite intense comparison to like learning how to act for theatre, being on stage, or act for TV and film, because you're in front of a live audience and you're constantly interacting with them. Like I would definitely say that even though I learnt it, I definitely learnt it doing the job.
Yes.
Developed it doing the job. So I remember one example back in the day, probably when I'd only been doing the lead role for not very long. I had a moment with a customer where I can't remember all the specifics, but I said what I said to him and he squared up to me. And I don't mean like in my face, but he kind of turned around and was just like what? Or like, what are you saying? Or something. And it was one of those moments and I thought the way I said that came across wrong, and I've now it seems like I'm challenging a very difficult person, and that it can be where the line can get blurred. And if you don't have luckily I had experience, but maybe I still was quite fresh to it, so you have to go, oh, okay, and then you have to adapt your performance. And I remember that one time, and I've never done it again since. Don't know what it was I said, or the way, it wasn't what I said, it was the way I said it, but it was,
yeah, of course, yeah.
And I remember it was
I think there's a lot of
it was
things.
a difficult group. Remember, he was a difficult person, but
there's a lot of different ways and techniques and methodology that we use to get people on side.
Yeah.
And I think when you're dealing with types of characters, you've got 20 people in front of you, I think you have to very quickly identify like who's going to be difficult here, who's not paying attention, who is paying attention. On the flip side of it, we have people that are difficult. On the like I said, on the other side, we have people that absolutely love it and they'll help you do or make your life easier. So things like, they'll be like, we need to clear that room.
Yeah.
Without like, you asking people to do it. So like,
do my job for
you go
me,
for
please.
it. Yeah, please, So yeah, there'll be people that are like leading the group, or like they'll help with stories. So they'll be like, oh, maybe we should go down there, or like, should we hold those doors? All of those types of things really help us do our job for us, because it sort of takes the pain away from trying to manage a group of 20 people. And
one thing that can be quite, not challenging, but is when you have a group of 20 people and you have a lots of different mix of those types of customers in there. So I think that, a lot of the time, another kind of genre of customer is someone who plays ball, is really into it, but just doesn't really care as much about the story and just wants to shoot stuff. And then you have people that really like, and then you have people that love the puzzles and love the story, but they're not really they are bothered about it, but they want that more of it. And then you have to go, right, well, I've got, 6 or 7 people here that just want to shoot stuff and they're not interested in what I'm talking about. And then we have people here that really want to do puzzles. So you have to kind of be able to think in the moment to give certain people things to do.
Look, everybody's paid the same amount of money as well. So if people are at the back and they're quiet, it doesn't mean to say that they don't want to be involved. Yeah. But if you've got a strong personality in the group straight away,
and they're like, I want to do this, or I'll do this,
then they're going to take over. And it's not fair on those other people. So it's about like making sure that you spread the love.
Yeah, like I
spread
find
the zombie love around.
Yeah, an example might be, we set the customers out on objectives, and one person comes back with all of the things that we need, and then or kind of wanting to be the forefront, and then we have to recognise the people that are quiet and be like, can you go and do this for me, or can you do this? And that.
Yeah. So it's important that they do that.
Let's talk about how often do we have it in our events where people that are so scared that they want to leave?
We do.
Yeah.
Occasionally, yeah. And we don't want them to leave. It's a nice kind of like, oh, okay, you're that scared that you're going to spend £80.
We've done our job properly
away.
already,
yeah. We're doing our job properly. But we'll try and bring them in, and like I said, we start really heavy, but as we progress on, you do sort of kind of ease into it.
When they
the
get
scenario.
a gun.
Yeah, a little bit. I was going back to your point before about like you have like people want to do puzzle stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, our events are designed to try to cater for all. So last weekend we were at our complex venue, which is a leisure centre in Basingstoke. Mm-hmm. It's a really difficult venue to make scary. All of the emergency lights don't go off. So like they've turned all the mains lights off, but the venue isn't all in complete darkness. So you have to really work against the light. Obviously, you shoot zombies in daylight and then you shoot zombies at night. There's a big difference. So, so that venue is really tricky. But we had a customer there, and he'd read the synopsis on the website, and he was looking for a real zombie challenge, and he happened to pick our 12+ leisure centre event compared to our 50-acre forest in the dark at night, in the rain, and with trenches and things. But he was looking for a real tear, so I did point him to the forest. But he came out and he was a little bit disappointed because he didn't feel like it was aggressive enough or scary enough. Yeah. But the thing is that we have 25 people to cater for. Not everybody wants to be rugby tackled to the ground.
This is what I said to speaking to a few guys this week about that. When they're asking about how intense it is, and then saying this is probably more the event for you, but we have to cater to everyone's needs. Not everyone wants that.
We do, but we don't not cater to those people.
Of course not. No.
So there are elements of it, and there are for events that are better designed for that than others,
exactly.
such as the forest.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that our events are so well-rounded. We've managed to perfect our events. They're so well-rounded that we do 9 times 99% out of 100 are able to cater at some point or another for different people's needs.
Yeah.
So it can be like someone that's looking for something that's more puzzle-based, people that just want to get their guns off, people that are terrified, people there that are celebrating something, they're testing themselves, a group dynamic, all those kinds of things we've managed to perfect over the years. I think that's testament to our events and why they're still around. But it goes back to over the years, we've seen all those different characters.
Yeah.
And we've designed our events to try to cater for everybody's tastes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. How long have we got? We want one.
Right, you got somewhere to be?
No. I meant like we want to speak about
our bus is here in a minute.
We want to speak about pop culture, don't we? But I didn't know how long that's going to take. We've got about 7 minutes.
I don't want these podcasts to be too much about like pop culture because it's just like
but we were going to speak.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it, but we've got 10 minutes. 10 minutes or so left. I don't want us to just chat about like stuff that people are watching on telly. I just don't think that's real good content. Our content about talking about but talking about what we do. Everybody's seen 28 Days Later. No one knows what we do. So our real value to everybody listening is like giving them insight into what we do. That's what I want the podcast to be about. And then talking a little bit about pop culture towards the end.
Yeah. Anything else about the customers?
No. But I'm just making sure that like we don't want to just skip on pop culture too much. I think we'll just touch on maybe a few points at the end. So obviously we've put a few posts out this week on our social about 28 months later. I mean, I hope they don't call it that.
I think they are, aren't they? What are they going to call it though?
Call it 28 years later.
No, what was the
second? It's almost been 28
Hold on a minute.
years.
What was the second one?
28
weeks was the second one.
Yes.
The second one.
28 days later.
Yeah,
28 weeks later.
And they've called it 28 months.
Don't call it 28 months.
But is that why they've done that? Because they want to leave a potential for 28 years.
Oh, God.
That is why. I mean, yeah, so we wrote a post Lab Bible wrote a post about it, and like we shared it to our channel, and a few people said, oh, the franchise, they're just like, they're doing it with loads of things, they're like dry, what's the word, milking it dry, like they're just what, you don't have to
they're milking it dry.
Yeah, you don't have to make it weird.
You made it weird by saying milking it dry.
They're overdoing it then, whatever.
Flogging a dead horse.
Flogging a dead horse.
A dead corpse.
Flogging a dead horse with the franchise, and they're doing it with like Walking Dead. They've done it. You know, people say they're doing quite a lot of Marvel, Star Wars, all that kind of stuff. So, the point is, 28 months later, should it be a thing? If it's a thing, you know, what do people want from that brand?
Cillian Murphy is coming back.
No, he's not confirmed.
Oh, I thought he said he'd be well up for it.
Yeah,
and Danny
doesn't
Boyle.
mean he's confirmed. He says he'll be well up for it.
We know how the internet works with the whole Henry Cavill.
Henry
Cavill.
We're not talking at the moment. Not.
This has just gone downhill, hasn't it? We
started
off really
Henry.
articulate, and we were really talking about the business, and now it's just Lucy's fidgeting, doing up zips.
Right, 28 months later, oh God, lost it. Cillian
Murphy has said that he would like
to come back. We would love that. I think it'd be better for it to be done as a series, maybe.
I think it's got legs as a series, isn't it?
Netflix would just do that. Pick that up.
I think that might be a type of incarnation for it. I'm not sure if it has enough pull globally to be released in cinema. I mean, it's not like World War Z, where it has like, I think World War Z is the biggest box office grossing zombie film. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
So that's one thing, and then Walking Dead, we were watching.
Yeah, so we've started obviously with the last season of The Walking Dead, and it's all coming to a close. We've sort of just picked it back up again. I mean, it did get god awful. It was getting bad.
We started from season 11, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm up. I've watched them all up to that point.
I skipped a season because I was like, this is just horrendous.
But they started off quite well. There were some really nice set pieces. There was a nice set piece in like an underground train.
Of season 11. Yeah.
And the relationship between Negan and Maggie is quite good.
Yeah,
I mean, you take Negan out of that series, and it's just like it's awful.
He is incredible.
But
Jeffrey something. Sorry,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, his name is
Dean Morgan. Yeah,
I think so. I should really know that. It is.
Okay.
It is.
What were you saying? Take him out of that.
Take it out of that. It's pile of poo. It's borderline pile of poo anyway, because they have these sort of filler episodes where it's just a lot of
They love a
scenes and
monologue.
chatting,
Walking Dead loves a monologue. You know, when it's like, right, how can we waste 6 minutes? Right, we're going to get this one character to speak about their life. And then you go, oh, here we go, there's another one.
Yeah. But I think it's worth a watch. It is. If you're a zombie fan, I still think like stick out The Walking Dead. Like even it's just nice to see Walker scenarios every now and again. And for us, it does give us some nice inspiration, like movement, costumes, set pieces, environments, all that kind of stuff.
We've made a few notes already, haven't we? Because like I said, we've got quite a few new venues coming up. So we were talking about a little bit last podcast about how we try and keep things fresh. It's really, we want to try and keep things fresh. So us watching these kind of zombie pop culture TV and film inspirations can help us.
So definitely like check out our social channels.
Write it out. Okay.
All across like Facebook, TikTok and stuff. No, off the back
of my point.
Yeah. So because we want to hear your thoughts on like these types of these scenarios, and off the back of the post of the 28 months later, it is up there now, hot topic, full of discussion. So definitely let us know your points of view on that. We're coming to the end now. So follow us all across our social channels. The first, if you missed last week's episode, that is up on our blog. So that's www.zombieinfection.co.uk. Put the W.
You said the W's. At least you said the W's.
As soon as I started saying it,
it was like you said 4 last time, didn't you?
No, I just sort of mumbled it. It was like so head over to that blog on that website. Whilst you're on the website, check out our new merchandise. Look, we've got these sick hats here. A little biohazard symbol on the side. Oh, sorry, if you're listening, then you won't be able to see this.
It's a sick hat.
I'm pointing to a hat with a little biohazard symbol on the side and zombie fiction. And Lucy's is
should I give it a little spin
hoodie.
on the chair without knocking your camera over?
You can't because there's You need to just stand up a little bit. There you go. Yeah, there's cool design. These hoodies. You can get them on our website. So definitely check out that merchandise stuff. We also have some cool Wales Zombie Nation t-shirts. So just quickly,
Wales.
Yeah, so like the Welsh national team are in the World Cup for like first time in 60 years, and they sing the Zombie Nation song after all of their games.
Okay. So check it out.
So we've made a little zombie t-shirt for all the Welsh national team. I mean, I hope that they don't win any games.
But if they're there wearing our t-shirts, that's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. So share that about. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, we won't babble so much next time.
We've got an idea of obviously what we want to talk about in later podcasts, but if you have any things that you kind of want us to discuss
or answer, any Q&As, any questions you've got for us, definitely send them in, comment on the blog post, anything like that, we'll monitor it. And then, we'll check you out. I don't know. We will check out.
We'll see you next time. Check us out
next time.
Bye-bye. We need to
see you later.
We crop that out.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
What happened with that Cillian Murphy bit? We just lost the ability to talk.
Classic.
Can I send it straight to your computer? Yeah. Oh, I got both. I got that one on there.
Oh.
Just now.
Oh. Where did that come from?
Just now I just picked it. Right, I'll send it straight to you.